So right now, I think the assumption is, AI is doing what we've programmed it to do,
Yeah.
but, it keeps getting more sophisticated. And I guess the question is, will there come a point where it's just doing something totally different that we didn't program, that it's gone off and, done its own thing and gone into entirely new realms that we could not have predicted? I don't know. I know this is a huge question, but what's
Yeah.
your speculation there?
I certainly think that's possible. But there's maybe a few different forms of that question. So one would be just they're going to do things we might not have predicted in the same way that, a complex system might have behavior that we couldn't have predicted. And I think that that's certainly possible. But I think part of your question, I think, is, will they ever be agents?
Yeah, right.
Will
Yes, right. Autonomous agents, basically.
Yeah. I'm inclined to say there's not an in-principle obstacle to that occurring. I think part of what's interesting to think about is what conditions would be required for that to be the case. I think we aren't there yet. But I don't see a reason why, in principle, AI could not do that.
Does that scare you?
Sometimes. To be honest, these days, it's not what keeps me up at night. But I certainly think that there are risks there.
What would scare you? Like, what would be a scenario that you think, oh my God, what have we done?
I think so. I will tell. I think there's a lot of answers that you see in the kind of sci-fi apocalyptic scenarios, and I think those do concern me. But let me share something which I think maybe people have thought about less. One thing I worry about is how having alternative ways to do things that used to take human effort is going to change the nature of certain kinds of social relationships. So, for example, if somebody writes you a really heartfelt apology letter by hand, the fact that it was meticulously constructed and very compelling and written by hand gives you evidence about the effort they put into it. And so you have sort of an honest signal that they probably mean it because they took the time to do that. Okay, right now we already have the technology to, in a couple of minutes, produce a document that looks like it was handwritten and that seems like it was a very heartfelt apology, but really, the large language model did it. What's going to happen to our normal mechanisms for tracking people's reputation and effort and relationships and what we should believe about their communication in this world where we no longer have some of those honest signals about human communication? So that's something that worries me.